Okay, can you hear me now? All right. It's really an honor to welcome Seba Abu-Daqa and Tom Kellner to IKAR. Seba and Tom are the co-executive directors of Clean Shelter, an organization that our community has been aware of and trying to promote for at least the last year because of the phenomenal life-saving urgent work that the two of you are doing with your extended team on the ground in Gaza over the last 2 years. So I want to start. The two of you have an incredible story of even finding each other and deciding together to pursue this work. So I want to welcome you and ask you to start by saying a little bit about who you are, how you found each other, and what the core mission is of Clean Shelter.
Thank you very much for this. No, I think it turned off again. Let me just.
There you go.
Hello.
There we go.
Works well. Thank you very much. And Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I'm very happy. It feels very right to be here. It's a beautiful day here today, and it's nice to see all of you. My name is Seba. I'm from Palestine, Gaza, and I live around in the world, like in the other side of the planet, like Cairo, Munich, Berlin. I met Tom on the 8th of October 2023 in a dialogue group organized by Neve Shalom for Palestinians and Israeli who live abroad. And actually, I found a person to do what I want with. For me, Tom and I, we share similar interests, we share similar motivation and strategy, way of thinking. So we both believe in action and doing things and having things done. We believe in dialogue for sure. It's important for all of us, but we prioritize that we have the urge to do things, to help people now. We believe in the future. We understand that people need to plan for the future. We also believe in the past and how important it is for the culture of the nations. But the most importantly, that today, people need to survive today. So we need to do something for them to survive. And that, I would say, that meeting Tom was a very important event in my life that has changed everything upside down and helped me do the thing that, thank you, Tom, helped me to do the thing that I always wanted to do. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Seba. Okay, now it's working?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay, good. So I'll do that too. Okay. So yeah, thank you. So when I met Seba, I felt that I'm encountering a like-minded person, and that, like she said, we're both very proactive, and I wasn't content with sitting around and like writing Facebook posts, and feeling miserable. I wanted to do something, and so I wrote her an email. And I said, first of all, I wanted to voice my, solidarity, my concern. I knew she has family in Gaza and friends, and I wanted to kind of, say something about that. And then I said, let's do something. And it took quite a while because Seba was preoccupied with something else that she was doing for Gaza at the time, and I was kind of nagging. I wrote a few emails. I was like, come on, let's do something, let's start. And when she finished her mission there, she contacted family and friends. And she asked, what are you missing? Like, what can we do? And the answer was really quite clear, that toilets were missing. So this was around November 23. And already a lot of international NGOs were, opening camps and establishing facilities. But toilets were, in a way, overlooked. And I think there are a few reasons for that. First of all, toilets are generally more a women's issue. Women are those who maybe need more privacy, need more time at the toilets. They usually care for the elderly, for the children. I mean, they're the ones who do all that. And I'm sorry for saying that. Men can just pee all over the place, So we said, okay, toilets, and it's a good way to start. We didn't think about founding an organization. That wasn't the motivation. The motivation was to do something that's tangible. I thought it's very easy to fundraise for toilets because you don't need a lot of money. You can document it. You can show, people who donated, what was done with, like 400 euros, you could build, a nice toilet. Again, these were very, very primitive toilets, like a hole in the ground, a bit of privacy, but it was doable. And also because when we started fundraising with just, our close circles, the most predominant narrative was that every cent that you put into Gaza will go to Hamas. And I thought that this theme of toilets and sanitation is it's a good way to kind of like work around this narrative, because, here are civilians, they just need the most basic thing that, all of us have and don't even give much thought to. So that's how we started, and we got an overwhelming response. We got so many donations and so much support for that we, first of all, could do much more. The more donations we raised, the more stuff we could do. And, we just grew kind of like organically through that. But also, when we started, Seba was a bit concerned because she said, well, the donations are going to your private PayPal. Like, how is it going to work? And I said, it's okay, because in Germany, you can raise up to 15 grand a year, like as a gift or donation, and you're not going to be taxed. And I said, that's like a ton of money. We're not going to do that in a year. So we're fine. Don't worry. And we raised this amount in 2 months. So we literally ran to found the organization. We had to register really, really fast. And I think that this was, in a way, this symbolizes the way the organization became what it is, because we wouldn't have been able to do that without the enormous support that we got from the outside. And at the same time, we founded a team in Gaza, and Seba can talk about that a bit more. And of course, we couldn't have done that without having people on the ground from the community, doing this work, and also putting themselves, out there. People are undergoing the worst, horrible things you can imagine, and still they want, to take the time, they have the energy to help their community, and I think that's amazing, and it's important, to talk about that, I think, even first of all.
Okay, so one of the elements of the work that I think feels mysterious or hard to understand, perhaps from our perspective, is the nitty-gritty of how it gets done, where the materials are sourced, who is on the ground that's helping. I want to get to that in a moment, put a pin in that, because before we get there, I think we'll even more appreciate your answer to that question if we have a greater sense of the full scope of the work that you're doing. Because what started with an initiative to build toilets in various settings within Gaza has expanded to efforts around shelter, efforts around clean access to water, desalination plants, educational facilities. So can you sort of expand for us the picture of the kinds of work that you're doing, the kinds of resources that you're bringing into Gaza? And then maybe once we have an understanding of that, how do you do it? Who are the people you work with? Where do you source the materials? And what are the obstacles in that process? 4 questions.
Thank you. Very important question. Actually, to conclude what Tom just said, we are now registered in Germany as like Clean Shelter, GUG, that we are like entrepreneurial company, and we are focused on shelter solution and sanitation solution as well. This is our mandate, and that's how we work in Gaza. We are providing, we are like, it's the most important thing to mention that we are also a non-political organization. We don't do advocacy. Thank you, Tom. We don't do advocacy. We don't have political statements. We are only humanitarian workers that do provide crisis response. And what is the crisis response? What kind? We cannot focus on everything. We need to have a mission. We need to have a direct mandate. Otherwise, we will get lost. So what are we providing? We provide shelter solutions like assets, tents, like some kind of buildings, but not concrete buildings. Buildings with the plastic covers and things like this. We do provide camps, protection camps for the most vulnerable groups, like households led by women, elderly, people with disabilities, and people who don't have voice. Actually, they cannot go and ask for their rights. We do, on the other hand, we are offering also like water, clean water for drinking, and also for day-to-day use. We are providing now water for 60,000 people every day. And through having two active desalination units linked to water wells in Khan Yunis, and we have performed like a simple network to deliver the water right to the camps, because we didn't want people to come, like to walk for an hour or more maybe to get some water, and they are fatigued, tired, with the like it's hot. Like now it's no longer, now it's another problem. It's raining and it's cold. And people, they do have lack of nutrition. They do have problems. Their bodies are fatigued. They cannot walk all this. So we made a lot of what we can to deliver water at their camps. Now we are serving 14 locations around Khan Yunis. And now, at the moment, or maybe we leave that when we talk about what we are doing nowadays. But this now I'm highlighting what we have done. We are also, in addition to this, we are still providing toilets to camps who need it. We do visit some camps, and when we see that there are lack of toilets and lack of privacy for women when it comes to hygiene and toiletry, we provide them with the toilet units with shower and also like with toilets. We also provide water, shelter, and toilets. We have something to do with infrastructure in general. We coordinate and distribute for other activities. Like, for example, we don't provide food, but what we do, shall we just leave people to die of hunger or what? No. Actually, our camp management, they coordinate with other food providers in order to provide daily meals and food kits to the residents of our camp. So we do coordination, we do distribution of blankets, like today, like not today or yesterday, today.
Time difference is
yes.
difficult.
So people now are going to sleep, so the day is over. So we were providing blankets in the camp where we have people. It's cold now. So we're distributing blankets. Last year we were distributing blankets, jackets, and plastic covers to protect tents from leaking. And well, this is in general. Tom would like to add something.
Yeah, thank you. I wanna talk a bit just about the practicality of the operations. Okay, so how is it done? Because now we understand more or less the scope of our activities. So first of all, we are registered in Germany, so we are an international NGO, but we conceptualize our work as a grassroots organization because we are community-led. Our team are the people who do the work. They are those who do the need assessment. They know what is needed on the ground, and they are the people who also know what is good for them, you know, and what solutions can be found. So we see ourselves as maybe I would say facilitators, you know, like managers. We have a sort of maybe like overall perspective about what is being done, but we cannot impose top-down solutions to people in Gaza. First of all, it just doesn't work. We have tried. This is not a good solution because people won't do anything that they don't want to do. But also because we believe firmly that people in Gaza know what's good for them. There is enough knowledge, there are enough academics, there are enough engineers, you know, there's enough ability to do what they need. They just need, you know, a bit of help and a lot of funding. We employ also water engineers, and we employ vendors, so that, for instance, when we need pipelines, we have a vendor that will, you know, procure them. Sometimes we find little workshops that kind of recycle stuff. Everything that we procure, we do inside of Gaza. We don't bring almost anything from the outside. First of all, because it's not possible, especially when it comes to infrastructure. You can't bring concrete, you can't bring desalination units, you cannot bring solar panels, and so on and so forth. But also because we prioritize immediate response. When you bring something from the outside, even if you can theoretically do that, it can take months. And like Seba mentioned, last winter we brought 4,000 jackets for children and 1,000 blankets, and this we did from the West Bank, and it took months. It took so long that I was at some point like very anxious that the spring will come and only then these jackets will arrive. So we prioritize buying things in the local markets so that we can do this from one day to the other and we don't have to wait. Another thing that is important to say, because we're always asked about it, is that we vet each and every person that we work with. We vet all our team members and we vet all of our beneficiaries. This is important from two perspectives. First of all, if we work with a person that is, let's say, targeted by Israel as someone that, has been working with Hamas or is part of Hamas, then we are risking our team and our beneficiaries. I mean, we cannot really eliminate the risk of, military action, but we can try to minimize it as much as possible. The second reason is that we are, committed and obliged to full transparency with our donor community. I mean, we will not be able to do anything without this sense of trust. So I think this is essential to continue the work that we're doing. I think this is more or less it about operations. Yeah, I will also say that, of course, we will hang out here. So if you have any other questions, we'll do Q&A. But if you have questions,
you have a lot.
Yeah, so, it's okay. We will answer everything.
Well, I'll definitely share the mic in a little bit, but ask you a few more questions before we turn over to the communal Q&A. Could you speak a little bit about what has changed since the ceasefire and what hasn't changed since the ceasefire?
Well, I would say from our part, nothing changed. Maybe the situation now is worse, actually. I always keep saying that the ceasefire made for everybody else to enjoy, but not for people in Gaza. For everybody to feel good about it, but not for people in Gaza. We used to be able to hardly get tents to replace our tents before. Now we cannot find a single tent actually in Gaza. And now the tents that we have are overused. We do still have a space that we need to host more people. And we cannot find tents in Gaza now. Nothing comes from outside. Everything is upside down. The procedure has been changing since a month now. And we don't know. Nobody knows what will happen, what's happening, when tents will be allowed in. We heard about UNICEF and UN getting tents, but actually no one has tents because they used to provide us with tents before. This is not the first time that we asked them for tents. Still, like everything we couldn't get from outside, still we cannot get. We have a third desalination unit that we didn't have access for. Like we used to serve many people, like with this desalination unit. Now, since February, we don't have access. And we still don't have access, and we don't know if it's still there or not, because we cannot go there, and we still cannot go there as we speak. Spare parts for desalination units that we have, and also for other desalination units that we are repairing at the moment, we cannot get them from outside, and we need to navigate for them inside, and that takes a lot of time, and maybe we buy very expensive parts that are not well functioning, and we keep doing the maintenance like every day for everything, like the water tanks, for example. It has been a catastrophe. We bought water, like clean drinking water tanks. They are outdated. They are very, very old and bad, and we need to maintain them every day. It's not like we maintain every tank every day. But we bought them for very expensive price because they're very limited, very, very limited. And now we cannot expand this kind of the water distribution points because we cannot find even these bad. Maybe they're angry because we call them bad. I don't know. We cannot find any of them, and they don't let, and they consider them as dual use, and they don't let them in from outside. So, like, yeah, from another perspective, situation is better when it comes to food and medicine. People get like regular food and medicine now. I'm not sure though if they get it everywhere, but where our camps are based, like the surrounding camps, are getting enough food for every day. And rather than bombing, like yesterday I was on a call with one of the people and I heard the bombing. And I asked him, well, what is that? He said, yeah, some areas are not under the ceasefire yet. So they are bombing the buildings there. Like where our desalination units. Our desalination unit might be a target for bombing one day, you know, because they are not within the areas for ceasefire. So for me, what makes this ceasefire horrible, that everybody else thinks that it's a ceasefire, and people, they stop worrying and thinking of Gaza. I'm afraid that people will forget about Gaza, and then actually no, the situation is not better. It's not any better.
It's difficult to hear. It's heartbreaking to hear, and I am grateful to you for naming the reality as you see it. And you know, one of the obstacles to fully understanding, of course, what's happening in Gaza is the absence of press in Gaza, journalists in Gaza, and so perhaps you can, sort of building on what you just shared, right, Seba in particular, you know, you have family members, you have loved ones, you have friends who are living the day-to-day to Gaza, and I'm wondering if you can share, you know, what is it about the on-the-ground reality that is not being communicated to the outside world, perhaps because of the lack of journalists there, but what is it that you're hearing that we might not be hearing about life in Gaza?
Well, actually, in general, what we are hearing is numbers, but there are many stories in every tent, in every corner, every child. I don't know, I have a dad who's still living in the camps, actually. He didn't, like, when he had the chance to leave Gaza in April 2024, he didn't want to because he was still in his house and he didn't want to leave, you know. But now he regrets it, you know. Everybody, like, they are living, like, miserable circumstances, and everybody are just very traumatized, very destroyed, and they need to continue working in order to stay alive, to survive, like mentally survive, also survive physically and also mentally. And everybody is very occupied with finding water, finding food, finding even like source of education, because education for their children, for Gazans, is very important, very, very, very important. So even though there are no schools that are operating, they try to find a private, like, kind of teachers or something like that for their children. We do have in our camps actually spaces, and we coordinate with educational organizations in order to provide education. But like absence of journalism, one of my family members, my cousin, she's a journalist and she passed away. She was killed last month in the hospital. She was covered 2 months ago. Yes, thank you, Tom. And she was covering, she was on her duty in one of the hospitals covering the updates, and she was targeted with her colleagues. So what is in there that people don't know about? And then I would like to mention that people there are more peaceful than we think about them. And they have been always more peaceful than we thought. For them, they just don't like to be attacked. They don't like to be accused of something. They don't like to be, nobody, I mean, not them. Nobody would like to live in closure for 17 years. I see you don't like what I'm saying. Yeah. Nobody would like to be in a prison for 17 years. I left Gaza in 2006. And I lived with a trauma, and was still nothing happening. Like, it was a lot happening, but not as much as throughout the past 17 years. So how these people, like, I mean, I cannot imagine how can they be alive until this moment? How can they be sane today under this closure, under this frustration, even before the war? I'm not talking only about the last 2 years. I'm talking about the last 17 years.
I want to add, for your perspective, that I don't know how much you like social media. I don't like it. But we do try to post a lot of updates, photos and videos of our camps and of our operations. First of all, it's because we want to give, you know, our donor community a sense of what their money is doing, but also because we want to, in a way, I don't know, negate this sense that Gaza is so far, far away and unreachable, and no one knows, what's going on, other than having these, like photos from above, of just like nothing. But there's still people there. People are doing a lot of stuff. A lot is happening. There is, life. I mean, it's horrible, but there is life there. And I do urge you, if you can stand social media, to, have a look at our Facebook and our Instagram and follow up. We put up a few postcards there. We have our flyers and we have postcards, and we welcome you to take them. You see a few photographs. You see the horrible, horrible water tanks. You can see our project that we did in Khan Yunis in March, where we connected 6 neighborhoods to water, and that supplied water to 120,000 people per day for 2 months before Khan Yunis was completely destroyed, but 2 months is good. So you can see, the operations of that. You can see one of our camps in the photos. So I think it's nice to have something, some sort of tangible understanding of how things look.
As a matter of clarification, you've spoken a number of times about the camps, right? The camps that you oversee. And so I understand that there's at least 2 or 3 that you've helped build and that you manage in southern Gaza, right? Sort of on the Rafah border.
And in Mawasi, the coastal west,
Yes.
the coastal.
So can you clarify, exactly what is the organization's relationship with the camps? Did Clean Shelter sort of receive a mandate to build these internally displaced persons camps? And then what does the organizational day-to-day management of the camps entail?
Okay.
Thank you. So since we started, we took part in the establishment of many, many camps throughout Gaza. We did mostly the sanitation infrastructure in them. It's also important to note that camps in Gaza are extremely dynamic. I mean, camps are being set up, then they are evacuated, sometimes because the army is working in areas that a week before, it wasn't bombing. Sometimes because residents want to find a different place. They hear there's a family member somewhere else, or there's a better camp. So it's extremely dynamic. There are some camps that are unofficial. You just have like a community, just setting up somewhere. You have camps that are registered, and then, for instance, they can have a bit more aid from UNICEF, from UN organizations. It's a very dynamic space. So we established completely and run 2 camps in Al-Mawasi. Al-Mawasi is the area that Israel deemed as the humanitarian or safe space in southern Gaza. It's important to note that it's not humanitarian and it's definitely not safe, but maybe in comparison to other areas in Gaza. So we took part in the establishment of a camp named Zomi in March 24. And then in the first ceasefire that was in February this year, the camp was just kind of evacuated. People wanted to go back to their homes and see what's going on there. Most of the times when this happens, people set their tent next to their, the rubble of their homes, but then they still need infrastructure. I mean, they still need food provision and so on. So many times, you see like smaller camps just being, kind of set up in these areas. When the ceasefire broke, that was March, we saw huge waves of displacement from the north and the middle areas back to Al-Mawasi, and we decided to rehabilitate the Zomi camp and take upon ourselves the management of it. ZOMI. And then what we realized is that we have to have a managing committee from the community. We don't want to tell them what to do. They need to run their, their lives, and we kind of oversee that. This model was very, very successful. And then there was Israel's plan to evacuate everyone from the north to Al-Mawasi. At that point, there were more than 1 million people in this very, very, very small area in Gaza. And we said, okay, we have to lease more land, and we have to set up more camps because we will need more camps for all these people. And we leased a larger piece of land. We moved Zomi camp to there, and we established a new camp named Miriam after Seba's cousin that was killed. And so these are two parallel camps that we manage and run with a managing committee. It's important to say that now with the ceasefire, the need for these camps is ongoing because there is still, there's no shelter. I mean, people have nowhere to go. Even if there would have been a peace process right now, still we would need, camps for displaced people. So now, like talking a bit about what we plan to do ahead, this is one of the most crucial things, to lease land, find land that is more or less safe so that, we know that or hope that in a couple of months Israel will not, give an evacuation notice for this space and implement this model of a camp run by a managing committee and, just do that as much as possible. But we can't do that right now because there are no tents. I mean, you can't set up a camp without having, a place for people to stay.
Yeah, actually, to add to what Tom just said, that the management committees are made more by women, and they used to be only housewives. And when we tell them now it's your responsibility, you have to do the work yourself, because we are not there, we are not as connected on the ground as you are, and then everything seemed very difficult for them, even a small task, because they never worked in their life. And now they are doing great work. We see in the group sending us picture of a musician doing some activities and teaching and singing with children in the camp, educational activities, recreational activities for children and also for women, organizing like daily food kits, daily hot meals coming to the camp every day. And now they are they are experts. Now it's flooding actually in Gaza, and they did their work. They didn't need to call us. They didn't need to ask us what shall we do. They knew how to deal with it. They were well prepared for it they're very independent. Then they are protecting the thing. We're not worried about the camps. We're not worried about our assets, because people belong to everything that we have there.
Building on the theme of inspiring women, our community, has had a relationship with Vivian Silver of blessed memory for many years, and I understand that in the Zomi camp, you constructed a kitchen in a communal area that you named after Vivian. So could you share a little bit about your relationship with her?
Me personally, I didn't have a relationship with, but we, in the beginning, actually, when we named Zomi, by this time, my colleague Zomi from the World Center Kitchen was killed in Gaza, was attacked with 6 of her colleagues. So we decided, I asked Tom if we can name the camp after her. I asked the community if we can name the camp after her, and then everybody agreed, and they appreciate Zomi actually. And then I told Tom, maybe we want to name all our camps and assets after women who killed in this war. Do you know of an Israeli woman that you appreciate and she was killed in this war? And in the beginning, Tom was, maybe not now, maybe people will not understand. And Tom suggested Vivian Silver, and then we asked the community, and the community were very happy to give them, because we don't impose anything in them, because it's not gonna work. If we impose it on them, it's not gonna work. They will put the banner and take a picture, and then they will remove it, otherwise. So we had to ask them. We had to tell them who is she, and they know her in Gaza. They know her and they appreciate her. And they had no problem with this. They thought that was very beautiful and human to do this.
Yeah. Thank you so much to Tom and Seba for sharing from your heart, for sharing what it looks like when you identify heartbreak and you decide not to sit back and just shed tears, but to roll up your sleeves and get your hands dirty and do the work of addressing the urgent and pressing needs of human beings in Gaza. I thank you for sharing this message with our community. I want to give time for folks here to ask some questions, and hands are shooting up. So Rabbi Ruth, Rabbi Jensen will come with the microphone.
So I'm wondering how you first connected with people who could help you on the ground, like the real tachlis, the real concrete stuff. It's hard for me to connect the dots.
Yeah, well, I'm from Gaza, so I used to have connections, but very little before. And in the beginning, just 1 or 2 connections. My mother was there, and she was already active. and she connected me with the first vendor and some volunteers, and then I started to expand my network there and call people and learn about more vendors, try and fail, and talk to everyone. Like, I spend most of my time in Gaza, virtually.
Can you just use the microphone if possible?
How do you connect to like sewage? I mean, what's the sewage?
We
that-
do-
This,
you mentioned infrastructure.
Okay, I think periodically we need to press the button for that to work again. No? Yes, we did, but this is not working anymore. Nothing is working.
Check.
Yeah, I can project my voice. That's fine. So sorry. Well, I don't know what to do.
Check.
Wait a second.
2 weeks in a row for an outage.
Really? Interesting. Okay, let's just continue. I'll answer because it's a good question. So in Al-Moassi, which is this area that we mostly work in, I mean, we work across Gaza, but this is a good example. There never was infrastructure because Al-Moassi was a very rural area, and I think this is one of the reasons that Israel chose it, as a place to put most people in. So we are in continuous communication with a lot of INGOs, with a lot of UN clusters. We also, Seba and I were not professionals, so we depend on, on sharing knowledge with others and extracting knowledge from other organizations. And what we realized is that at the moment there is absolutely nothing to be done when it comes to sewage and waste management. So we do the most primitive solution, which is kind of like absorption pits, only that there is no municipal services that can pump out the waste. That means that, gradually Al-Moassi is becoming like a space full of shit. I'm sorry, but this is the truth. This is horrible. This is not sustainable. The waste is actually also getting into the well water, and most of Gaza is reliant on well water. I mean, this is a disaster, but this will have to be managed once we can bring materials in. I mean, right now it's just that's the only way to go. Yeah. Oh, okay. No.
Use my
No, it's not working either.
okay.
Okay.
Thank you both for the just fabulous work that you're doing. It's really, really inspiring. So I wanted to sort of bear down on some of the related what Ruth was saying. I work in water law and policy, and one of the questions that sort of occurred to me is when you connect to some water system, or anywhere else, who is paying for that? How, and you're also talking about leasing land. What is the sort of, authority that gives you permission to do that? Do you have to pay for water? What do you have to pay for? What do you get as part of just the local municipal water system? How do you convince them, the suppliers,
May I?
to do this?
Yeah, well, actually, we don't need any permission from anyone to do crisis response. We are not building a concrete infrastructure. We are doing things for the short term and maybe medium term, but we are not building like something with concrete. So we don't need any permission from anyone. But to do water, we needed somehow to have an agreement with local organization called the Coastal Water Municipalities Utility. Name the organization is very weird. It's hard for me even to say it all the time. And they are independent NGO. And we had an agreement with them to do the desalination unit in their premises, and they will help us because they have the trucking to deliver the water to different tanks that I was talking. These bad tanks, do you remember? Yeah. Yes, yeah. So yeah, like on the other hand, we just rent land from private people who have land, and we pay for what they ask. And also on the other hand, we have like a lot of contracts with vendors to provide things that are beyond the capacity of our team. Like for example, the recent camp that Tom mentioned called Miriam, we needed to do a fence, we needed to do a toilet, we needed to start building, a structure for the camp, then we had to contract a vendor with their worker in order to provide this kind of work. When we want to have produced, for example, during this year, we provided 50 toilets all around north of Gaza city, north of Gaza Strip. And who can produce these toilet units? We contracted with the same vendor who did the camp to do these toilets and distribute them where our team cannot go, because our team was all of them in Khan Yunis. We contracted vendors to reassemble the desalination units and do the pipelines and construct the pipelines and construct the network, construct the desalination unit, and also provide maintenance, regular maintenance for a year for the desalination unit, like this.
I want to add a bit more technicalities. So what we do usually, we survey the wells in the area, because we need to also understand some wells have desalination is too high for our desalination unit. So we had to identify wells that we can work with, and sometimes we have to have a contract because the well is on private property. So we really navigate with different circumstances. I'll also add, just because some people are interested, that we run now 2 desalination units. They filter 8 cubic meters per hour, and they work more or less 6 hours per day. So that provides water to 60,000 people per day, more or less. And we are now starting, we actually started to repair existing desalination units, because there are no more desalination units to be bought. So we decided to repair what there is. Sometimes it's owned by private people, other times it's owned by municipalities. And we will do this now with 2 or 3, I don't remember, and we'll provide water to another 300,000 people.
Not only because there are no desalination units to buy, but also because there are a lot of them. They need to be repaired, and it's just waste of material, waste of time, waste of money, just not to overlook this and go look for something new to build. Like, we can use the old ones.
It's like,
Do you have pictures here?
no, we didn't print pictures of them, but it's like it's in a room. Yeah.
Obviously, you're doing incredible work you're doing for the short and medium term. Gaza obviously is facing a very long-term crisis of rebuilding so much infrastructure. Is there a role? Do you have plans like going forward that you guys will have a role in that, in more permanent infrastructure, since you've obviously created such an impressive network?
Well, actually, like, people cannot live in tents for the rest of their lives, and I don't see that there is, like, in the near future, not before 10 years, that the rebuilding will take a place. We are a crisis response organization. We cannot be part of. We are a crisis response organization, but we cannot do, like, be part of the long term. Ah, yeah, okay, I'm sorry. Yes. Okay.
It's like,
Okay, so I'm not shouting. I'm just talking loud. Yeah. Like, we are a crisis response organization. We are not aiming at taking part of the long term or forever rebuilding, but actually we are very interested in taking part in the mid-term provision of decent housing, because people will not live in. We cannot live in tents the rest of their life, or the rest of for 10 years even, or they don't even deserve to live in a tent for 1 day. But we are planning to do, like, to bring and to get in caravan housing and provide them with decent housing until they have their houses rebuilt. And if they want to continue living in it, it's their choice, but it will be provided for them for a certain period until everything goes back to normal. So this is our plan. Can we do it? We hope. We will try our best, but so far we cannot get tents. So how can we get caravans in? And actually this project, we made just rough calculation, is gonna be costly. And we started fundraising for it from the moment, because the time we can get caravans in Gaza, then we will start immediately.
I want to add that what we have learned in these 2 years is that we have to deal with what is happening right now because we can't tell what will happen in a week or in a month from now. So we have to respond as fast as possible to the circumstances. What we are doing now is that, and this is, I think, one of the things that is a benefit of the ceasefire, is that there are areas where we can operate more. And we decided to start repairing houses that have been affected but not destroyed completely. So again, we are focusing on the vulnerable groups, women-led households and so on, families that cannot afford to repair their houses. We have a team of engineers that, make an initial estimation. Does this meet our criteria? How much time and money will it take? We started a pilot. I think we did already three houses.
The pilot is 10 houses. We will be done. Like now, maybe we will stop for a while because we want to help camps because of the flooding. But so we will, by the end of the upcoming week, we will finish the pilot and start planning for 100 houses.
So some houses, it's just like the plumbing is ruined. Some houses you can just put tarps on the windows. People want to go back to their houses. Like Seba said, the point is that people don't deserve to live in a tent. We cannot bring most of the materials in, so it is still very, do-it-yourself and makeshift solutions. But the photos that we have of this, they're really nice. I mean, it is heartwarming.
So amazing. I have two quick questions. It's working now? Okay. Okay. So your work is really amazing, and to see a woman who grew up in Israel and a woman from Gaza doing this work together. Two quick questions. I know that you were in Zurich like a few days ago, and now you're in America, in LA. Where else are you going? That's question number one. Question number two, have you been able to go to Gaza in the last 2 years? Can you go now, and will you be able to go soon?
I will leave the first question to Tom to answer, but for the second question, unfortunately, we couldn't go. And I hope to be able to go to Gaza in December, January, whenever. If any of you can help, please let me know. I'm really I'm desperate for it. I need to go. I feel I would like to be there and see everything. And I miss everybody. I got to know people that they became part of my life, but I've never seen them because I just met them virtually. So I miss them, and I want to hug them as well, and be with them in the field. But unfortunately, this is not possible so far.
Yeah, we are. It's not possible. No. It's just not. So Gisha is an organization, and they have been working for many years at facilitating I would say, helping Palestinians get from Gaza mostly to Israel for instance, for medical aid. And they, I think, are one of the organizations that have the most knowledge about how to get in and how to get out, but no one can get in or out right now. To the question of our travels, so we really have an amazing support network and an amazing supportive community. We started a model of chapters because we were approached by a lot of groups of people who said, we want to help. How can we help? And we said, and they wanted to help not as individuals, with individual initiatives. They wanted to help as part of Clean Shelter. So we initiated this concept of a chapter. We have a chapter in Italy, and we have a chapter in Switzerland. And the chapter in Switzerland, they invited us to come. They organized a really, really nice talk for us, so we were there. We also are part of a program at Duke University. This is our second year doing it, so students volunteer with us and get academic credit. They actually brought us to the States in February when we were here, and now again. So we started in Durham this time. We will, after LA, we will be in Boston. We'll give a big talk at Boston Uni. If any of you have, acquaintances, we can share the website to come to our talk. And we are going to give a small talk also at MIT and an unofficial talk in Harvard. I am an academic, and I believe firmly in this sort of discussion with other academics. I think that for us, it's very, very fruitful. I mean, it's fruitful, first of all, for visibility, and outreach. That's important for us. But also because we talk with experts. We were at Yale talking with public health. We at Duke, we talk with environmental studies. I think this is for us very enriching because it also gives us the language and the concepts to communicate what we are doing. So so if you know other universities that would like to have us, we are very happy to.
So building on this thought, and I'll close with this question, and then I know you'll stay around just a little bit longer. There's a couple of folks who want to ask questions, but Ezra Klein, whenever he finishes one of his podcasts, he always says, and that's always our final question, what are 3 books that you recommend? I feel like when we have incredible organizations like you all, we say some version of, as always, our final question, what can we do to support you? So Tom, you were
Donate.
Yes, this is the prompt for you to say donate, and for me to say donate 3 more times in the course of the next 10 minutes. But you were beginning to say, I mean, I was actually inspired and concerned to see in your annual report that something like 85% of your revenue comes from individual donations. And so I'm curious, is the ask of us to continue to be part of the 85% and make that number grow? I think, of course. And are there additional ways that our community or individuals within this community can be supportive of the work you're doing? And we'll close with this.
Oh, thank you. So first of all, you're talking about our 24 annual report. Our 25 annual report is forthcoming. It's important to say because this year we had much more institutional funding from foundations and family trusts. We got a lot of support from the New Israel Fund. They did a very big campaign for Gaza. They fundraised for the World Central Kitchen and for us. We are very grateful for that. So that was amazing support all over. I mean, the New Israel Fund in the States, in Zurich, in Germany, in Australia, in Austria. So, I mean, this is wonderful. We do rely a lot on individual donations. This also allows us to be more independent. And that's important. It's important also to say that really, I mean, every donation counts. We receive donations of €1. We receive donations of, 100 grand. And we think that all of this is really, really very meaningful to us. I will also add that, again, like I said, visibility is important for us. So, talk about us, tell people about what we do. If you know people in the press and media, that is very, very valuable for us. We have a lot of press coverage in Europe. Not so much so in the States. We just don't have the connections. So if you do, that's very valuable as well. If you feel like having a chapter in LA, that would be, that's great. And we have our flyers. There's a QR code. There is our website. We encourage you to keep in touch. We really value the communication with our donor community. So you can subscribe to our newsletter. You can follow our social media. We have a fiscal sponsor in the States so that if you donate, your donation is tax deductible. I know it's very, very important. So, we offer that as well. Is there something I forgot?
Thank you very much, Tom.
Since I saw a bunch of eyebrows go up when you said an LA chapter, can you just say a word about what it means to form a chapter, what a chapter does?
Yeah, sure. So generally, a chapter does whatever a chapter wants to support us. Really. It really, really depends on what you do or what you feel like doing. The Italian chapter, they're very Italian. So they set up a website for us in Italian, which is amazing. And they're very supportive and nice. They do, they find like Italian celebrities and then they post about us in social media and stuff like that. That's great. Our Swiss chapter, they're academics, so they invited us to talk at the technical university there, and they set us up with, we gave an interview to like the biggest newspaper in Switzerland. it really depends on you. We need support. We need help with visibility. We need help with fundraising. Sometimes it's even stuff like, I don't know, the students, for instance, at Duke, they're helping us right now with the annual report, you know. Yeah.
Thank you so much to Tom and Seba for being here today. Really encourage folks to pick up a flyer on your way out, scan that QR code, head to their website, donate, and look at the pictures on the website, because to your point, Seba, earlier about not just aerial pictures of rubble and destruction, but pictures of real people rebuilding their lives, creating beauty out of destruction. It's very important for us to see and to become familiar with those spaces and connect our lives to their lives. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Through the website.
The website.